Rielle Dardenne hurried into Tal's office and dropped the sparrow's message onto his desk. "Princess Runa is dead," she announced. She wouldn't describe her mood as excited exactly, but her own kingdom, Seldaria, and their northeastern neighbour, Borzval, had lived in a state of tension for so many decades that it was hardly noteworthy when, say, a Seldarian merchant ship sank off Borzval's coast or patrols came to blows near the border. But a murdered Borzval princess, that was news, and Rielle wanted to dissect every piece of it. Tal let out a sigh, set down his pen, and dragged his ink-smudged hands through his messy blonde hair. The polished golden flame, pinned to his lapel, winked in the sunlight. "Perhaps," Tal suggested, turning a look on Rielle that was not quite disapproval and not quite amusement. "You should consider looking less thrilled about a princess's murder." She slid into the chair across from him. "I'm not happy about it or anything. I'm simply intrigued." Rielle pulled the slip of paper back across the desk and read over the inked words once more. "So you do think it was assassination? Audric thinks so." "Promise me you won't do anything stupid today, Rielle." She smiled sweetly at him. "When have I ever done anything stupid?" He quirked an eyebrow. "The city guard is on high alert. I want you here, safe in the temple, in case anything happens." He took the message from her, scanning its contents. "How did you get this, anyway? No, wait, I know. Audric gave it to you." Rielle stiffened. "Audric keeps me informed. He's a good friend." "Where's the harm in that?" Tal didn't answer, but he didn't have to. "If you have something to say to me," she snapped, colour climbing up her cheeks, "then just say it. Or else let's begin our lesson." Tal watched her a moment longer, then turned to pick up 4 enormous books sitting on the shelf behind him. "Here," he said, ignoring the mutinous expression on her face. "I've marked some passages for you to read. Today will be devoted to quiet study, and I'll test you later, so don't even think about skimming." Rielle narrowed her eyes at the book on the top of the stack. "A Concise History of the Second Age, Volume 1. The Aftermath of the Angelic Wars," she made a face. "This hardly looks concise." "It's all a matter of perspective," he said, returning to the papers on his desk. Rielle's favourite place in Tal's office was the window seat overlooking the main temple courtyard. It was piled high with scarlet cushions lined in gold piping, and when she sat there, dangling her legs out into the sun, she could almost forget that there was an enormous world beyond the temple and her city, a world she would never see. She settled by the window, kicked off her boots, hiked up her heavy lace-trimmed skirts, and rested her bare feet on the sill. The spring sunlight washed her legs in warmth, and soon she was thinking of how Audric blossomed on bright, sun-filled days like this one, how his skin seemed to glow and crackle, begging to be touched. Tal cleared his throat, breaking her focus. Tal knew her far too well. She cracked open A Concise History, took one look at the tiny, faded text, and imagined tossing the book out the window and into the temple courtyard, where citizens were filing in for morning prayers, to pray that the riders they had wagered upon in today's race would win, no doubt. Every temple in the capital would be full of such eager souls, not just there in the pyre. Tal's temple, where citizens worshipped Saint Marzana the firebrand, but in the House of Light and the House of Night as well, and the baths and the firmament, the forge and the holdfast, whispered prayers in all 7 temples to all 7 saints and their elements. Wasted prayers, thought Rielle with a slight, sharp thrill. The other racers will look like children on ponies compared to me. She flipped through a few pages, biting the inside of her lip until she felt calm enough to speak. "I've heard many in the Borzval court are blaming Seldaria for Runa's death. We wouldn't do such a thing, would we?" Tal's pen scratched across his paper. "Certainly not." But it doesn't matter if it's true or not, does it? If King Halvard's counsels convince him that we killed his daughter, he will declare war at last. Tal dropped his pen with a huff of annoyance. I'm not going to get any work done today, am I? Rielle swallowed her grin. If only you knew how true that is, dearest Tal.